If you think of a mind and a body, which Descartes separated for us, right?
Descartes.
Then, right, very good. Okay, so then the question is always, how do you get from this non-material, fuzzy thinking sort of thing to this body? Okay, so from the non-material, and nobody's been able to answer that. So I said, wait a second, let's take this mind and this body, let's put them back together. And if you do so, wherever you put the mind, the body will also be there. So I did a series of studies where I put the mind in, let's say, a strange place, usually a healthy place, and take the measurements from the body. So the counterclockwise study. We took these old men to a timeless retreat to turn the clock back. And essentially, what we did was have them live as if it were 20 years earlier. So they had discussions twice a day that were held in the present tense, not in the past tense. The decorations in the retreat were all of 20 years. Everything about it was to put their mind back 20 years.
And when they were younger.
When they were younger. And the findings were remarkable. Their vision improved, their hearing improved, photos taken of them before and after suggested that they looked younger, cognitive abilities improved. But there were a couple of points. Okay, so we did this study with chambermaids. Now, chambermaids.
Yes, the exercise.
Chambermaids are exercising all day long, right? Their jobs are physical.
Yeah.
First thing that was interesting, we asked them, how much exercise do you get? And they said they don't get any exercise. Well, that's odd. They don't get any exercise because exercise is defined by the Surgeon General to be what we do after work, because when we're working, we're sitting and not exercising. So they adopted that their work isn't exercise. Now, the first thing is that they're not particularly healthy. In fact, they're less healthy than they certainly should be given all this exercise. Okay. So we take half of them and we teach them that their work is exercise. And they're told, making a bed is like working on this machine at the gym and so on. So then we ask them, we leave, and we come back and we ask them, have they changed the way they eat, how much they eat? No. Are they working any harder? No. We ask people, their friends, co-workers, about them and so on to see, is there anything that's different? The only thing that's different is that now they see their work as exercise. Now we take our measures. We found that they lost weight. There was a difference in waist to hip ratio and body mass index, and their blood pressure came down. Take the mind and the body, you put them together. Wherever you put the mind, the body should follow. And, so I have study after study like that in the book. It's very exciting.
Much so.
Okay, so this goes back to the idea that our mindsets are limiting us. So one of the studies that I'm particularly fond of has to do with vision. So the way we test vision, as you know, you'll take a look at an eye chart that has letters, black and white letters that go from large to small.
Right.
So what that does is implicitly create the expectation that soon we're not going to be able to see.
Right.
Okay. Well, what we did was turn it around. We created an eye chart that goes from small letters to large letters, creating the expectation that soon you will be able to see. And by changing the mindset, what happened is people can see what they couldn't see before. There's something else about eye charts that I don't remember if I wrote about it. I think so, but I've thought about it more recently. It seems so bizarre to me that we would have somebody evaluate how well we see by seeing a bunch of random letters connected to nothing. I imagine that if I'm looking at colors, if I'm looking at things that are moving, if I'm expecting you to come and I'm looking forward to it, I probably see you further in the distance and so on. So that for me, if I couldn't see these little letters on a piece of paper, it probably wouldn't bother me anyway, as long as the rest of my vision were fine. And I talk in the book about attention to variability, which is another way of saying being mindful. Things change. And when we pay attention to the changes, then it's often clear to us how we can change our own lives to make ourselves healthier. The medical world talks about chronic or acute illnesses. Now, if you get a chronic illness, what that means is presumably they can't do anything about it. So if you think you can't do it, there's no control that you can exercise over your health, then you don't bother paying any attention to it.
Right.
If you're not paying any attention to it, chances are you're not going to find any way to help yourself. When you recognize again that chronic isn't quite as well known as many of us think when we have chronic disorders, we should turn it around and recognize that the disorders we have are controllable. And if it's not controllable right now, we can try to find the way to control it.